Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about the Hyperdocs lesson and give you kind of an overview. I'll try not to make it very long, but there's a lot to it and you should have already been thinking about it. The things we've been doing throughout the semester are all preparing you for this. It's a lesson way more than a worksheet. In this Hyperdocs lesson you're going to have students do this basically quote unquote on their own because it is self-directed, but you have previewed, collected all of the resources, but there are areas for note-taking, collaboration, and creation on the part of the students throughout. And so all of these components will come together for their Hyperdocs lesson, and you get to choose totally what yours is on. Make sure you get an appropriate grade level and content area. And so let's just get into what this is all about. You will have actually two different documents. One will be the Hyperdocs lesson explanation document, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And then the second one will be the student copy, which is the one that the students will have in front of them as they are going through the lesson and clicking on the resources, creating things to show their learning and all of that. So one will be explaining your choices, the other, which will just be for me, and one of them will be what the students will see. And with Hyperdocs, you need to actually have students make their own copy of the Hyperdocs so they can work on it themselves. And right here, I put a link to a video, and I think I put it down further as well, where you actually force students to make a copy. And so you've had to do that throughout this semester already because I have done that with a lot of our documents. But let me show you what that looks like just to remind you. When I say make a copy of this document, and it should come like this. Okay, remember you've done this lots and lots of times. And so that video up there shows you how to do that. So let's just get into this first document, the lesson explanation. I'll go ahead and make a copy so you can see what you're doing. I'll do just what you're doing. All right, so to start, you're going to choose a Hyperdocs template, and I put a link right here to find that template. And you do not have to use one of these on the Hyperdocs website. You should have by now explored lots and lots of different templates. Some of them are in Google Slides format, which is totally fine. Some of them aren't even in Google. I've seen Hyperdocs in ThingLink. I've seen Hyperdocs in Canva. I think I've seen them in different presentation modes. And so you do not have to choose one from here. But this gives you a good template and then a sample of what it could look like on here. So these are totally fine to choose or another one. And so let's say that I'm just going to choose this one. Okay, and so you're going to actually have to make, sorry, let me go back over here. You're going to have to make a copy of this. So if you don't remember how to make a copy, just go File, Make a Copy, and then that will be your own Hyperdoc, and I'm going to put it out of here. I'm just going to put it in my drive. Okay, so that is my copy as soon as it comes up here. So what I would do is have the copy of the student copy of the Hyperdocs lesson, which is this one, and your lesson explanation document right beside each other. So you can make them smaller if you want to have them side by side. I just like to be able to Alt-Tab directly from one to the other. And so you are going to put the original source of the template here. So the copy that I just actually did away with, the actual template, I should have kept that here. That will be that link. Give the link of the original template. So that'll be here. And then after making a copy of that, then this is the one that I'll need as well to grade your Hyperdocs lesson, because this is the one you're going to make changes on. So make sure you include both of those. And the reason I do that is because I give you basically permission to copy somebody else's work. So if you find a really neat template that another teacher has created, go ahead and make a copy of it. But I want to see that original because you need to have changed it enough to make it your own. So give me both of those links, and then you're going to do all the normal stuff right here. Make sure you give me a grade level, or I can't tell if your resources are grade level appropriate. You need to have at least one Missouri Learning Standard And so choose that and write it out enough to where I know which portion of the standard you're using. And then you're going to have a really good learning objective, which if you want to go back to, I think it's week 12, you can look at the different verbs that you can use with learning objectives, or just Google Bloom's taxonomy and you can find some there as well. So all of this stuff is here. It's not necessarily on here. I'm going to actually delete the directions, and then I'm going to do mine on, let's do it on the rainforest exploration. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is, as I am developing these 4 sections, so you need at least 4: engage, explore, explain, and apply, extend. You can either have evaluate, can be, apply is okay because it kind of suggests that you're going to do an evaluation or an assessment of some sort. But if you don't want to do these 3, that's totally fine. I'm just going to delete them. Okay, so I think I can actually just go like that and backspace. Okay, so that's really simple. So you only need 4 sections. You can do more if you want, but so what you're going to do is find out what you want to do to engage the students. So to engage them, you might insert a video, you might insert a quote or a meme or something. So watch this short video and write a sentence or 2 about your reaction. And then you could link the video here. Yeah, you go find one, you link it here. So just get them thinking about what is going on. So you're going to have, and notice that I'm writing these directions directly to the student. I'm not explaining something like the students are going to watch this short video and then they're going, no, you're talking to the students as the audience. And so then back over here, after you have put a resource there, you've given them a job to do by thinking about those things and writing the response. Then you're going to come back over here and tell me, why did you choose the resource and the activities in this section? In other words, what do these things allow your students to do? So this one could be, I chose the video because it shows very graphic images about the problems with deforestation, which will engage my students right at the beginning. And then I had them write their reaction. I need to know their point of view, or something like that, okay? So why did you choose the things you choose and the things you chose, and then why you're having them do them, okay? So you'll do that on each one of the 4 sections. Now, you do not have to have your sections labeled this, but it needs to be something like that. So, so that's those 4 sections, and you need to have some different pictures here. If you're having them write a video or watch a video, you might have a little video thing here, okay? Or you might actually put some Bitmojis around the corners here. You can make it visually appealing, because that's part of your the expected parts of your lesson, part of the requirements for your lesson. Okay, so throughout this, like here, you're going to have them just write something. Okay, so you might have some lines here that you have them write. In the Explore, you might have them respond to some resources through a little audio clip, or they might go and create a meme in response to it. And so right here over on your lesson explanation page, you need to tell me at least one place that you had them take notes within here, or even if you, let's say that you had them a link out to a Padlet board and you had all the students put their responses on the board so then they could interact and collaborate that way and respond to each other. So that's a collaborative situation. Okay, so that would be a good one here. And then right here, this is for note taking. So you would put the engage section and what you did. So you need to have at least one of each of those. And then on your lesson, you also need to have at least one resource that you created. And this is not something that you just went out and found, but it's something that you actually created as a part of the lesson. So like I'm creating the screencast video for you. So you might want to do that for your students to help them with a website you linked or to help them understand how to use a new tool. You can use it to deliver some content, lots of different things. You might just have a little link to a audio clip explanation that they scan a QR code or something like that. You might create a Google drawing where students have to move things around and maybe categorize them with a Venn diagram. So if you, or even an assessment tool. So if you create, whatever you create, you need to tell me what it is and then link it right here. You're also going to have the students create something. Now, yes, the students are interacting. They might write their response. They might do something here. They might contribute to a Padlet, but you also need to have them create something. So we've talked a lot about this semester not being passive responses or consumers of information. Students aren't passive, they need to be active. And so you need to have them create something in there. And a lot of times it will be in this evaluate section. It might be in the explain section if you have them create like an interactive timeline to show the progress of troop movements during the Civil War or something like that using Satori. But so they would create that. And so that would be here. You would list it here. But you also need to actually create an example that the student would create. So if you're asking them to create a timeline of major battles of the Civil War, you need to go out to the tool that you're asking them to use and actually create one. Now, it doesn't have to be a full-blown, very detailed example, but I do want you to at least go through the motions of what you're asking them to do. And then you need to link that here. You will not link it on this. You won't link it on the lesson itself unless you want to give them an example, which I sometimes is okay, but it depends on what it is. But anyway, you need to link it right here. And then you need to give all the references for what you used throughout your lesson. So you need to have used at least 4 different types of resources. So you need to have a video, you need to have some text within. I mean, the directions are text, yes, but you also need to have some other text-based instruction. You need to have some component of audio. And sometimes this is hard, but you can have students listen to a little podcast. You can have them listen to, nature sounds. You can even have them listen to a video if you give directions that they need to focus on the audio part of it. And then you need to have some type of images. Now, these little clip art things they do not really count. I want them to be somewhere content related, have an image throughout somewhere. So then you need to give the citations for those things and the pictures that you use and the resources that you have all here within this references section right here. And so that is what your lesson explanation document, and this document will be the one that the students see. All right, so that's an explanation of both of those things. And I give some directions about how to use Screencastify if you want to use it as a screencast tool to make a video for your students. Also, remember on the links throughout the student document, you need to actually link them to the words themselves. And so if you want to highlight the words, go up here to link and then put in whatever link you have or you need. then that is what it needs to look like. Not like this. That is very ugly and it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. And so you want to actually link it to words within. I already told you about note taking, 4 different media types. Make it visually appealing. You can have all kinds of little things that students can look at, but don't make it overly busy. And then after you're done with everything, you're going to add your Hyperdocs lesson to the section on your In My Classroom page. And so you will go to your classroom page and write your little paragraph and then link your number 2 copy of the Hyperdocs lesson. You don't need to do the lesson explanation page. That's only for me. So just follow those directions. And then when you go to Blackboard to turn it in, you will actually turn in the link to the 2 documents that you have. So the student copy and the lesson explanation page. So that is it. If you have any questions about any part of this Hyperdocs lesson, please don't hesitate to ask me. I am very happy to help. You can come to my office or we can just chat online or through email or through Remind. So this is a really fun activity and assignment that students do. Just make it really pertain to you and your future classroom and have fun.